Advisory Board to order on Thursday, January 5th, which is a little unusual for us. Would you please call the roll, Brandon?
Sure can. Okay, Margie Davy,
Present?
Lisa Marone,
Here.
Eric DeGroot, Pat Dwyer Halquist,
Here.
Vic Oliver,
Here.
and Osmond, Bob Peschel, Brad Spambauer,
Here.
Aaron Wojciechowski.
Here.
We have quorum.
Correct.
Okay. Seeing that there is probably no public comment tonight, we will move on to the approval of the minutes from the December 5th meeting. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Everyone that was at that meeting and would like to vote, please say aye.
Aye.
Unless, of course, you're opposed, in which case you could say that. Thank you for not being. Okay. Pat has done a wonderful job of creating us a native plant brochure. And it was in the packet, and I have a feeling it's probably above my head right now, huh?
What I wrote, and then there was what, Brandon made it into a trifold.
Right,
I
yeah,
mean-
it's the same information though, right?
Yeah, we can pass this around. This was just a very conceptual thought, based on the information that Pat provided, what it,
Would look like.
yes.
And to be clear, this is not what it would actually look like, it's just kind of how it would be laid out, because it'll have pictures and things like that, it would end up being pretty.
And my ask would be if you guys would like that to be created, that we work on it.
Okay.
Had everybody had a chance to look at this ahead of time?
I did not.
I did not either, but I can read quick.
So the red is, I guess, more or less
Or
your
comments.
questions or
Yeah,
comments.
those weren't meant to be part of the
Right.
brochure. More my questions.
And so the red part is what's not included on the trifold, right?
Correct. Some of the stuff in the trifold is even duplicated. It's just literally
Just the layout.
visually representation of what a trifold.
Yeah, it looked like there was, I think, part of one of my red, the top red thing, part of that ended up in this little thing here.
Yeah.
I think.
So it's just a layout design.
Yep.
So we need to go through this document is what we're getting at.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say read through this, and if you guys have comments or edits, and it doesn't even really need to be tonight. It's more or less if you had already looked at it, now would be the time to comment on those edits, or we can keep it on the agenda for next time. Just
I will be gone in February and probably in March, but I trust you to go forward with it.
okay.
I think, rather than delay it,
Sure.
Sure.
Can you just scroll down a little bit? So is this the same text that's on that printed piece?
Yeah.
Pretty close,
I mean,
Same.
some of it,
Essentially.
not all of it.
not exactly.
I kind of messed around with it a little bit. I think that all of the information could fit.
That was going to be my one comment was
The volume.
printed there, there's no URL, and so if you could write out at least the first part of the URL, someone could type that in versus
Yeah.
just like
Instead of the hyperlinks, like
Right, like
this be
online, the hyperlink is helpful, but printed a link, a URL is
I
better.
did go through and search by those titles, and it kicks up, but not necessarily as the first.
Sure. So that would have to be just kind of set.
So my question regarding that would be, I think I did that on the back of this actually. Let me find it.
I did them as
So-
I had them written in the brochure, and they do kick up. If you type plant native plants to help nature, Wisconsin DNR, that website kicks up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't go through each of those links, but I did, like on that page there on the brochure. I guess my opinion would be the paragraph goes away, and which just says Wild Ones Fox Valley, and then the URL.
Oh, okay,
Oh, sure.
sure.
For the printed version or the online version?
For the printed version, just because I think
There's too much
Unless there's
text.
a, correct,
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty wordy if we're supposed to add pictures to that.
correct.
No, I think that it might be important to leave some explanation of where what the
Who they are.
websites have.
A little bit.
Like a
yeah.
sentence.
Because
Right.
But
people
like, there's
who
a
are,
paragraph for wild ones up there.
Right.
people who would pick this up maybe don't do computers. That's also a possibility.
Right.
So while it's important to put out, you know, the website so that people
call.
could access it if they didn't use hyperlinks, I still think we need to describe
Quick
it.
print, Brad.
I know.
Oh, is yours upside down too?
I didn't change the
I
format.
printed my own, it just came that way.
Oh, fine.
So those are kind of like my initial thoughts were regarding that mostly. The link portion of the brochure would probably need to be formatted differently potentially.
And does this also go online, or this is also?
Yeah, I think that like this document is very similar to any of our other items that are listed on the Sustainable Oshkosh page for resources.
Yeah.
So
I'd throw it up there. Why not?
just we could find a place for it here somewhere.
Okay.
Land management and food.
Sounds great.
Maybe there.
Those are that is an interesting.
You will want to go and explore that, and so will
I may.
everyone else.
So yeah, that I think the
Yeah.
normal document layout could just be somewhere housed on this page.
Or even like a PDF, but as long as the links are
Yeah.
clickable there, then people
Yeah.
can find it kind of both ways.
That'd be fine too.
Yeah.
Did we decide that you have somebody who can beef this up and add some photos, or did you want one of us to volunteer for that?
So I mean, there is an individual that I work with that's very good at like Adobe and stuff. I haven't gotten verification if we can use his time to work on something like this.
Sure.
But I guess my point is if someone was able to provide me with some images, then I don't think it would be too difficult for, if you guys are somewhat okay with my concept there.
Yeah.
I could easily throw some pictures in, and it wouldn't be, it wouldn't take like a ton of staff time, I don't think, to make that a little bit better.
Yeah.
And I assume we'll also have some constraints put on us by the city as far as fonts and some things for printability that they like.
Yeah, I think we do have,
I guess I'm asking,
Font
how much
requirements.
do we need to, how perfect do we want to make this before we turn it over to the city for printing? And the reason I ask is I've been down this road before and had it
You-
all set to go, I thought, and.
so you probably know better than me then, because I haven't actually
and-
produced a document like that before, so
You could get the specifics from them. of
there's a
like,
whole
what are the-
ordinance,
Yeah.
and it's all laid out for different things, what the fonts have to be and what's allowed and what's not allowed.
Okay, so you know where to find the ordinance, you could send it?
Yeah, now what was that in relation to like the chicken and bee ordinance or
It pre-
pamphlet, or
It predated that,
predated that even?
yeah. No,
'Cause,
by
like, for
then I said I'm
instance-
not touching it.
I wonder what happened with like the bee, and I could look, I suppose, and see if the text in the chicken and bee brochure meets that font, or like because that document was produced by SAB or whomever it was produced by, that it didn't have to meet those qualifications, maybe? I'm guessing, I really don't know. So that's something I can look into.
Okay, yeah,
Would it be printed in black and white, or it would?
no, we'd want it printed in color.
Okay.
Yeah, we could print it in color.
I think pictures of
I
native
have-
plants
I
are
have-
much better in color.
I have some pictures of native plants, flowers mainly, that I took this summer. You want me to just forward them to you? Is that helpful?
Yeah, that just as a, preferably like in a, PNG
JPEG.
file or a JPEG would be fine, yeah.
So I actually have a lot of pictures, but I picked out some this afternoon, so I'll just, and they're flowers is what they are. And I don't,
Okay.
and they're
Sure.
pictures I took, so there's no copyright thing.
Because of the size requirements or size limitations in our email, can you send me like no more than 2 at a time in an email?
Oh, yeah, I can do that probably.
I get a lot of emails.
That'll be fine.
just
I can put
sent-
them all in a
just sent
folder.
them.
Yep.
But I just don't want you to send them, go through all the work of putting it together and then it not go
Well,
through.
I sent them to myself by an email, and then I just tried to forward that email to you. I don't know if it worked or not.
Probably didn't work if there was a lot
Probably
of.
didn't work.
No.
Okay, so later on, I'll send it to you at home from my computer rather than trying to.
Pat, it might be a good idea to label the pictures with what the plant is.
Sure, sure, I can do, they're all from our church garden, so I don't know if you need that label or not.
We don't need that label, but I mean, if
But
it's,
they
if
are,
it's,
yeah, I know what they are.
I don't know, I don't even know plants enough to
I
say. If
tried
it's a
what I-
milkweed, it should say milkweed,
Um,
because I wouldn't know looking
yeah,
at.
what I have is like a brown-eyed Susan with a skipper on it and it's probably a black-eyed Susan or another brown-eyed Susan with a, bumblebee on it, and I have a spiderwort and a penstemon. That's what I have pictures of. I have, of the ones I selected.
Right, yeah.
If you want any comments on like any of the text or anything, when do you want, like, what's the deadline for that before the next meeting? Or provide that at the next meeting?
Yeah, I'm assuming that we'll keep this on the agenda for a while and work on it.
Oh, yeah. It always takes time to do it.
So, our next meeting won't be until the 6th of February, so if you got me stuff, this week here would be very helpful.
Okay.
Because I'll try to have the agenda done, or everything done by the 30th.
And that way it can go in the packet so we can all reflect on it before the meeting.
Well, it gives me time to work on it too. Right?
Oh, you want that?
Yeah, time is helpful.
Valuable.
Give yourself a deadline of the 23rd. That way, if you get it to me on the 25th, it still gives me a couple days.
Perfect. I will not be here the 6th, so you'll be without me on that.
Okay.
Is that spring break or something? It's not, is it?
No, that's
Okay.
just start of the semester, but we're
You're going somewhere.
yeah, climate conference.
That's sad. You'll bring back all kinds of wonderful information for us, won't
Yes.
you?
So I think, like I said, unless anybody has anything today that they really want to dive into regarding that sheet, we can move on, or
Hey, I wasn't hearing a lot of comments on it, so I
Yeah.
assume we all need some time on it. Okay, moving on then, we will go to the Environmental Leadership Award. It was also included in our packet. We have this listed with what we were originally given, but it's not necessarily perfect for, say, submitting to a newspaper or something. If we wanted to have some, and actually kudos, Brandon, to however you got the salt awareness information. I saw that in some newspaper.
Yeah, there's a pretty big article on it.
Was
it
that
was
the
on the front page of the
Northwestern?
Northwestern, but I don't think, no kudos to me, I don't think that came, I think that was a national story.
Really? Oh, well,
think
it was
so.
all the stuff that we wanted to put
Yeah.
in there, so it was perfect. And yeah, I was gonna give you the credit,
No,
but okay.
I don't think it was my doing.
It's exactly the information we've been talking about for the
Mm-hmm.
last year that we wanted to get out there, and it's also the same info, I think, that was included or will be included in water bills or something. But
Oh, it came out.
That went out in
That went out.
November.
did that come out?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't actually get the bills, so I never look. However, I will say I did watch a city truck come down my street this morning, and I don't know what they're spreading, and I'm hopeful that it's something that's not as bad for the environment as salt. But there was a lot of it. And it was probably slippery out, and if I would have had to go out, I probably would have been more interested in seeing it there. Anyway, back to the Environmental Leadership Award. This is an award that we partner with one of the Rotary clubs, and Oshkosh Southwest Rotary has an environmental and beautification committee. And in the past, we have had nominations come from either within this group or within Rotary. We also have had nominations made from the public, and that can be done by sending an email to Brandon or to any Rotary member in the Southwest Rotary, I suppose. We've had some changes in leadership in the group itself, so I'm a little unsure, what to tell you. But basically, what we ask is that you nominate, that somebody makes a nomination for environmental activism within the city of Oshkosh. Long-term participation is in one category. A leadership contribution, which could be positions, tenure, whatever. development of an innovative or model program or facility in use or being considered for use by others. And we've had at least one award in the past given for that. Leading or fostering a long-term initiative, making a substantial contribution to environmental protection or removal of environmental hazards. And I really hope we find somebody for that, because that would be a really good thing. Or leadership influential in achieving a documented substantial improvement in quality of the environment. And in the past, the nominees have, and the award winners, have met more than one of these categories, but they don't have to. This award can also go to an individual or an organization, or it could go to a business, so, which I guess is kind of an organization, but there are really no restrictions on it, as long as they meet this. We did say initially that we were asking for 3 letters of support or 3 exhibits. Quite honestly, that's never happened, and we've still been able to learn enough about the recipients to present the awards. So the important part, I think, is that nominations need to include the name and contact information for the nominee and the nominator, and no more than a 500-word summary of the nominee's contributions to the environment. And then this award will be given at the State of the City, which I don't really know if it's in person or virtual again this year. I'm not sure that decision's been made, but either way, this award will be shared with the city. So if there's anybody out there in TV land who would like to make a nomination, you please should. And if there's anybody sitting at this table, and I have a feeling there are a couple who would have some ideas for nominees, please go ahead and write that up and submit it too, so that we can get this show on the road. We do have a date of January 20th that we accept applications through. That's not an absolutely hard deadline, but it does give us time then to get together with the Environmental and Beautification Committee, which is some of us and some of Rotary, and make a decision when we have multiple applications submitted. Anybody else want to say anything about that? Okay, then we'll set that aside and move on to our agenda items for a future meeting, one of which will be the native plant brochure. Do any of you have other suggestions?
No mow May, don't you have to do that every year? Or-
We should
Yes,
get
we
ahead of that
do.
this time, please.
Yeah.
That was incredibly stressful.
Okay. I think we can probably hold off until March at least. I think March gives us March and April.
Oh, okay. It has to go before city council every year, or?
Yeah.
I think maybe it wouldn't hurt to do it in February, because then we have more time to let people know that they need to register.
Okay.
Fair to get the word
And-
out.
And we need to work with the city a little bit more on how that happens.
We only meet once a month, so would probably be good.
Just
Yeah.
in case we don't have quorum too one day.
That's a good point. Yeah, we never know.
I remember us having a conversation when this came around at council that I don't think we had to vote on it or something, because it's already an ordinance from like when it was first passed. We just need to like
Oh,
collectively agree as a council that we're okay with
To
it.
allow it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't think it needs, because we had this conversation about whether it needed to be like a formal vote or if we could just do it if no one had any objections to it.
okay,
So I
well,
think-
hopefully it'll go through that easily again this
So
year.
I think it
then.
might just
I
be,
like that.
if SAB just votes to like support it, then it will just kind of go through.
Okay, well, we'll put it on for February, and again, that will give us some time to publicize it.
When, Aaron, when is the, after the election, when are the new council members potentially voted in? Is that May,
I think we meet, it would be right away in April,
April?
because the election's the 4th, so I think we would meet probably that next week, like
Okay.
the following week, whatever that date is. I can check real quick.
Oh, it's important to be
April 4th,
conscientious
yeah.
of those dates.
The
I
11th
think.
would be when the new council would meet,
Okay.
Yes,
and then we would have a meeting on the 25th, so.
we will have new council members, and we will have a new mayor, so we'll want to make sure that we give them lots of time to think about stuff, too.
Mm-hmm.
Any other items for future agendas that you could think of?
But again, we have a workshop again tonight for goals, so maybe,
After that?
I mean, once, I'm hoping that maybe today we can solidify the 2023 goals, and then maybe it would be nice to have those televised.
To discuss them or
Like announce them and
Or
share 'em
announce
with the
them,
world.
just
Yeah.
so the public is aware of what the goals
Okay,
are.
so report on goals is
Yeah.
really what we want to put on next month.
Are we still meeting with council to discuss the goals?
I was told today that council has a number of workshops being proposed to them that are mostly related to the budget, and that SAV's priority is getting lower and lower on that workshop list. It'll happen eventually, but
It was something though, so we had, and I can talk about this more when we're in our workshop, but yeah, when we met with the city manager for our review, it was brought up about having a meeting with, council and this committee, so there was no given date though, it was just kind of, we want it to happen.
yeah, initially I was told end of January, but now I'm being told maybe not till March.
And I would argue, given our last recommendation to the council, that possibly this is a budget item. So, well, let's see what we can do.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else that's coming up? All right, looks like we're in good shape. We'll move on to our goals right after we announce that the next meeting is on Monday, February 6th, and somebody makes a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, we are adjourned.